All right, guys, welcome back to episode 6 of Talking with the Boro Boys. My name is Andrew Fonz. I'm joined with Connor Ballou and Carson Shelton. Looking back at the Cognizant Classic tournament this past weekend, we had Joe Highsmith going out and getting his first PGA Tour win, his first PGA Tour top 10 in the same week. Proud of him right there. He's got invited to the Masters after that win down there at PGA National. Looking at our picks from the week, we had Connor Ballou getting a good pick with Russell Henley, ending up T6 at 15 under. Good pick right there. And then Luke Clanton and Alex Smalley ended up, I believe, at T18, both at 12 under, I believe, as well. That's another good week. That's three great picks from the three of us. So hopefully we can keep that going. Maybe we can get a win here shortly. Maybe we can get a couple wins in the Masters and go from there. But looking at
Yeah,
the
first
Arnold.
off, first off, let's give some props here to Luke Clanton for making the old PGA Tour card. He was able to make the cut. So
Yeah, proud of him for doing that. I think everyone knew it was going to happen based off him coming off his collegiate win and his miscut waste management Phoenix Open. So I think it was a guarantee he was going to make it.
happy for him.
Arson, that was your pick. How are you feeling for that?
Yeah, I picked him because I knew he was going to make the cut, get his tour card. I picked him to win just because I'm a fan of his. I didn't necessarily think he was going to win, but I enjoyed seeing him play some good golf. Uh, Unfortunate that he couldn't put it all together for 4 rounds and get that win, but at least he got his tour card, so
Yeah,
that's all that really matters.
I mean, I think we're all ecstatic that he's got his tour card. He's the second PGA Tour U accelerated player. From last year, it was Gordon Sargent. Now it's Luke Clanton getting their tour cards. So that's exciting to see these college guys getting their tour cards, and we're going to see them. We might see Luke Clanton decide to go pro and become a pro next year instead of going back to Florida State, or we could see him go to Florida State. We could see him in a couple of years from now. So I think it's going to be exciting, and having the opportunity to stick with your team or go be a professional. I think it's a cool aspect of the PGA Tour U Accelerated program.
I think he's going to stick with his. I think he's going to stick with FSU for another year. He said he really likes that team atmosphere and the college experience, and he's still gonna play in tour events. He
Yeah,
just won't make money.
I mean he has his tour card already, so he can basically play whatever he wants. I mean he could possibly go out and get a win, get invited to majors for the next couple of years if he decides to stay at FSU. So that'd be pretty exciting to see. Connor, what are your thoughts on him staying in or leaving?
Yeah, like Carson said, I lean towards him staying. Although I wouldn't be surprised if he was to make the full jump into the PGA with the opportunities he's had now with getting his card and everything. But I definitely look to see him even in the majors this year making a name for himself as an already ain't. He's already essentially got a name for himself, but to see him at the top of the leaderboard is good, and I think he plays with a competitiveness and an edge to him that some golfers don't. He really seems to always be competing in the big events, and he's made a name for himself in the last year. So I'd love to see him, go to full time PGA, but I understand if he wants to play in the team atmosphere at FSU and stay in college.
Yeah, we also have to think about the Walker Cup. I would assume he'd want to be on that team, and I mean it's basically Ryder Cup for the college kids. So I think it'd be something that he might want to stick with just so that he can play in that event. I mean, I definitely would want to stay if I was going to be on that team. I think that was one of the main reasons, like we've all mentioned, being on that team, being in the team atmosphere is why Gordon Sargent decided to stay last year, which was for Vanderbilt and to play in that Walker Cup. So we might see Luke Clinton do the same thing. But looking into this week with the Arnold Palmer down at Bay Hill, Arnie's place. Connor, what are you thinking about Arnie's place this week?
Yeah, looking for another good week, and we'll see what Joe Highsmith can do as he won the tournament last week. See what he can do carrying over. I'm going to pick Patrick Cantley to win this week. Seems like he's due for one. Not a big fan of his slow play, but he does seem to be in the running a lot. So I'm going to pick him to win this week down there. Can't ever count the chef out or Rory McIlroy. So I got Patrick Cantley at plus 3,000 odds.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great player. I think everyone knows that he's a great player. But like you mentioned, a lot of people have a problem with his slow play. I
Yeah.
saw a little snippet earlier, or it was yesterday, from Ludwig Oberg saying he got asked a question by a reporter from it was like, what part of your game do you think most people would want? And he goes, the pace of play. It's got to be the pace of play. So I don't know if that's a jab at the PGA Tour not having quick enough rounds for him, or if he's just saying that because he likes to play golf quick. Connor, based on what I've just said about Ludwig, do you think that was a shot at the slower play, or do you think it's just him wanting to play quick?
I think him wanting to play quick. He does for sure play quick, but he never seems like the one to cause controversy for sure. He seems very low key in everything he does. So I would lean towards that. But I will say I think a lot of players do have a problem with the slow pace of play for some of these golfers, like Patrick Cantley and a few others. But I don't think Ludwig was trying to take a shot there.
Carson, would you say otherwise, or are you in agreement with Connor here?
No, I don't think Luddy's the guy to take a shot at anyone, especially in the media. I think if he were to do it, it'd be sniffer to sniffer, face to face. I don't think he'd do anything in the media.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's the guy who's, if he's going to say something, he doesn't want it to be a big public show where it's. I don't feel like he cares much about that. He just wants to play golf. He wants to win. I mean, younger guy coming from Texas Tech, so no surprise there. Carson, what are your thoughts for Arnold Palmer
Uh,
at Bay Hill?
Bay Hill, a really tough golf course. I don't think we're going to see the high scores like we have been seeing these past couple weeks. With that being said, I want a guy this week who's going to grind it out, play gritty, a little feisty. I'm going to go with Colin Morikawa this week. Um, I'm looking forward to see him getting up in that leaderboard and getting back to that winner's circle. I think he's got it in him, and I think this week is he's going to do it.
I really like your pick. We've all mentioned it before that I'm a big Colin guy. I'd love to see him get back in that winner's circle. Like we mentioned before, though, he does have. It seems to be a weakness on Sundays for him to bring it home in the home stretch. So Carson, what are your thoughts on him bringing it home in the home stretch, or do you think he's gonna continue to fall short?
Yeah, going into Sunday, being if he makes the cut, which I hope is true, or my pick would be a waste. But if he makes a cut, I don't think he's going to be in that final pairing. I think he's going to work and climb his way up and shock a lot of people from coming behind. So I don't think he's going to have to deal with all that pressure from playing in that final grouping, probably with Scotty. So I think he's going to climb back and win this golf tournament.
It's a great take. I mean, we've all seen him playing with Scotty in the late rounds, and Scotty being the number one golfer and number one in basically every single category is a little concerning, a little hard to deal with, as any golfer would be. Scotty did mention that he was playing back home with his buddies, and one of his 10 handicap buddies beat him in it just because of a handicap this past week. So maybe Scotty's got a little fire under him to go out and win at Bay Hill, just like he did last year, I believe. So
Yeah.
we might.
I- I'd also say that I would agree with a guy that's going to grind it out like that. I don't think it's going to be smooth sailing this week for sure, with especially the conditions that are expected. So, and as you said, it's a tough golf course. So I think it's going to be a guy that grinds it out and has to deal with the ups and downs and the good shots and the bad shots, and it's not going to be smooth sailing, I don't think. Which Highsmith, he exemplified last week. He came from kind of nowhere. No one would have picked him to win on Sunday, but going forward this week, I think it's going to be someone who is able to fight and climb back into it and able to pull it off.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Highsmith, like you said, was on nobody's radar. I don't think he was even. I don't know what his odds could have been. Whoever could have bet on him would be a happy camper.
Yeah,
Um, but to come out and win like that is great for him to get his first win on tour. Like I mentioned earlier, he's gotten the exemption to the Masters, which is I believe every golfer's dream to go play Augusta. I know it's mine. I wouldn't be surprised if it's your guys' as well. But I'm looking at this field, and there's one name that we haven't seen in a little while, and I think you both know where I'm going to go with my pick here, and I'm going to Xander Schauffele. Coming back from his injury, I think he's going to want to make a name for himself right off the bat. First tournament that he's playing in this year, I think he's going to go out and get it done. And he's going to be right back in that winner circle, and he's going to be fighting for the FedEx Cup in August.
I would love
Yeah,
to
it's
see
a
that.
gutsy call. His first tournament back at a really tough golf course. Hopefully he plays well.
Yeah, it's definitely a risky call, but based on the way he was playing golf before he got injured, I definitely think it could be a good pick overall, and we could definitely see him go out there and get a win, especially getting. I mean, he's just warming up for the majors now, so he's a few weeks behind the rest of the guys, and he's going to try and kick it into high gear pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. I'm a big fan of Xander. Seems like a really good guy to be honest.
Yeah, I think he's shown a little bit more of character being on the YouTube videos. I think we've all seen him on the YouTube videos with Bob Does Sports, and he's just taking shots at their whole group right there. So I definitely think I think it'd be cool to see him if he can come back from this injury. Like we said, he needs someone who's got some grit. I definitely think he's got some grit to him to go out there and get that win.
Yeah, he did lose to the Bob Does Sports crew though. So
Yeah, I mean it's a 3v1. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, but it's Bob and Joe.
They're not the best of golfers, but I don't think. I mean, I don't know if we could go out there and beat those three guys. You got Fat Perez.
I like
He
our
can swing a
chances.
little
Yeah.
bit.
I like our chances. I definitely think we got him on the drives for sure.
Yeah, once he gets around the greens, whew,
Yeah,
they'll probably get us there. I can't seem to roll them.
you struggling with the putting stroke there, Connor?
Stroke, mid irons. I can put a chip up there and get it close, but I don't think I'm going to be able to finish it.
And
But truly, just excited for the warm weather. Honestly, to be golfing again, and you can't beat golf season, baseball season. This
baseball
time of year,
season's
you got March Madness. Like, it doesn't get much better than this. NBA playoffs around the corner, NHL, NFL draft. I mean, so
We'll see the NFL draft here in about a month. We'll see March Madness here in about 2 weeks on the spot. I believe it's the 20th
yeah, I
that the
think
first game is going to
yeah, I think
be.
that's right. The,
Um,
the first four, yeah.
yeah, first four going to be the 20th. So March Madness is basically here. Baseball season's basically here. Golf, the warm weather is going to be here. So I definitely think we're gonna, if we can all get home at the same time, I think the plan is to go out, of course, get some videos going, maybe play some Wolf, see what happens. Don't know,
Be fun, yeah.
don't know how that would go. Might have to. That might be something we have to look into.
Might get chippy out there, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
There might be a few moments that got to be cut from the video. That's for sure.
Drive down the middle and no one picks you, and then that's a backstabber there.
Yeah, that's a bad. Yeah, especially if you're saying right now that around the greens you're struggling. You might pipe one and be like, nope, I ain't choosing it.
Yeah,
Gotta play the odds, damn it.
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I think it'd be something that we might have to watch out for Carson with if we go out and start playing some games out there on the golf course.
yeah.
Ain't no shame getting a little chippy out there.
No, I'm not saying getting chippy. I'm saying just gotta look out for you being a stick.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Connor's familiar with that.
Gonna be giving us some strokes, it sounds like.
Oh shit.
You ain't giving us those strokes?
We'll have to see. I mean, we'll have to see.
Connor mentioned March Madness a little bit ago. The bracket should be out here shortly. I know Mountaineers are officially in. I'm ecstatic for that. Got our last home game against UCF on Saturday. Blue Devils are an absolute lock for this tournament. We got two Blue Devil guys here, like everyone knows. How you guys feeling about coming into the tournament? How you guys feel about the last home game at Cameron? And what are your thoughts on Cooper Flagg and his dad both reacting to the one more year chance? Carson, I'm going to start with you here.
Yeah, straight domination in the last home game of the year. Started a little bit sloppy, but we pulled it together. Monster night from Cooper, as always. He really showed his dominance. Um, and for all the seniors, man, I think this is our year to get it done. I think we're going to play with a chip on our shoulder in March just because of the fact that everybody's saying we're overrated, we don't play any comp. I think that's a little BS. I mean, we can't do anything about playing in the ACC. So tried to schedule Illinois. They're a ranked team at the beginning of the year. They got the injury bug, and now they're playing awful. Yeah, we beat the shit out of them. But yeah, Cooper Flag and his dad, I think they're just buying into the noise a little bit. I don't think that you really can tell anything from that. But it'd be wonderful if he stayed. But if he went, all praise to him. That's the brotherhood, and just good luck in every step of the way. But yeah, it'd be great if he stayed. But I completely understand if he heads off.
Connor, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I'd put my money on Cooper going to the draft, but he does seem like the type of kid that's ultra competitive, and if they do lose, say they lost in the Final Four of the championship, he would think about coming back. The game's changed with the NIL factor, but I'd like to put the Cooper Flag and Broom, John I. Broom, National Player of the Year debate away because John I. Broom has looked terrible in the last two games, and if you just watch Flag, the impact he's had, it's 100 times more, I think, especially recently, because it's not just on the offensive end; it's on the defense end. It's being the playmaker for that team. He is rebounding the ball, transition. He's shooting the ball so much better than he did. So I 100% think, and he's 4 years younger, I think. So I 100% think that he should be the National Player of the Year without a doubt over John I. Broom.
I
And
agree with that completely. Completely.
and and yeah, Auburn losing to A&M. That SEC is a straight gauntlet every night. Florida beating Bama by it was 10 points last night. So um, it'll be interesting to see all these SEC teams in March Madness and who you got to run into because there's a lot of good ones. So, and they wear you down, especially defensively. There's a lot of good teams in there that, are hardworking and are kind of grinded out teams. So,
Yeah, I definitely think that all the talk about Duke not playing anyone this season's kind of load of shit because the ACC has always been one of the more dominant conferences in all of college basketball. If you look at the history of the ACC, their dominance is there no matter what team it is. But for them to have one down year and the SEC and all their fans completely bash Duke for not playing any of their teams when they were probably trying to schedule them, and no one wanted to play Duke just because of the type of school Duke is. They know the atmosphere that they're going to bring to every game. That they might have been a little bit scared, or they just didn't want to schedule them because they're more focused on conference play, which is understandable. If you look at Duke and their in the ACC conference, they were dominating the whole year. So I definitely think it's going to be something to watch here in the coming weeks when we finally see the brackets come out and see who Duke plays. And if it's an SEC school, do they walk through them or do they stumble a little bit? Just looking out the win, or if they lose. So I think it's going to be something to look out for here in the coming weeks. I'm still looking at the Cooper Flag, deciding to come back or not. Right now, I'm looking at, I believe, as of this morning, the Oklahoma City Thunder would have the number one overall pick. I don't know if that's right, but I saw they already have Shea Gilgis Alexander, who's basically an MVP in that league. So for them to have two, I would probably be top 25 guys on their team would be outstanding. What do you guys
yeah.
thought? Is that right for the Oklahoma City Thunder to have the pick or no?
I know they have a high pick because of trades in the past, but I'm not sure if it's one.
It'll
I'm
all
not sure.
matter about the lottery, too. The lottery, you get, I think, three teams have the same percentage to get number one. It's like they don't do that in any other sport. But like you said about Duke scheduling, going back to that, yeah, the ACC's on a down year, but Duke scheduled Illinois thinking it would be a high competitive basketball game, which they ended up beating them by 40 in Madison Square Garden, neutral site. Illinois or a couple games later turns the page, beats Michigan by 20. So you can talk about Duke not scheduling anybody, but their non-conference was good. I mean, they played Kentucky, Kansas, lost to both of them, played Auburn in Cameron, beat them, then Illinois in a non-conference February game, and you can say Illinois is not that good, but they turned the page and beat a top 25 team in Michigan by 20.
Yeah.
So, you know, give it what you will, but that's the big question. I think there'll be a lot of eyes on that. Is will Duke respond to the adversity when they play an SEC team going into March Madness and when the game gets close? Because, be frank, they haven't had many close games, especially as of recent.
Yeah, it's definitely something we're gonna have to look out for. Looking at the Big 12, though, they got a bunch of teams in. The Mountaineers, like I mentioned earlier, made March Madness. They've been struggling a bit recently with beating top 25 teams. Overall, we have a handful of good top 25 wins, especially Kansas and Iowa State. So I definitely think we might be a little bit of an underdog going into the March Madness tournament. But
BYU, that's a team to watch in the Big 12. They just beat Iowa State on the road. I was talking
yeah,
about that with someone. I said BYU could potentially make an Elite Eight Final Four run
yeah,
because their offensive explosiveness.
they beat us out there last week, and that was, I think it was a little bit of a closer game, but it's just not. Going out to BYU again and then playing Utah back to back is going to be a little bit of a struggle just because the flight out there is going to be a little bit longer. The weather, the not the weather, the altitude's going to be a little bit
Travel,
different. The travel
the
is going
altitude, yeah.
to travel is going to be different. But also looking at the NBA, when we discussed the Luka trade a couple of weeks ago, I believe that the Lakers now have the best record since then in the league. I don't know if that's right. Is that true, Connor? Is that
I think January 18th they have the best record. I'm not sure about since the deadline, but I believe they've lost one game since Luka's played.
so? I mean,
It's
that's
impressive.
that's what you call bringing in a superstar and continuing to dominate as a team, whether it was meant to be or whether it wasn't. Carson, what are your thoughts on that trade going down?
Um, the knock on the Lakers these past couple years, and really a lot of NBA teams, has been not playing defense. And if you look at if you look at this stretch from the Lakers, the whole team is playing defense. It's honestly amazing to see as a fan. They're playing hard. You got Luca doing crazy shit on the offensive side, and he's even playing defense. He's not known to play defense, but he is. And then the bench for the Lakers is just, it's a lot of lower tiered guys, but they're playing with a chip on their shoulder and they're playing like dogs out there. And I think bringing Luca in really enhanced the atmosphere in that Laker locker room, which then results to them playing better on the court and merging together. And we knew it was going to take time for them to get chemistry with each other, but I mean, that what 16-1 or 9-1 since the trade?
Yeah,
I
That's
believe
pretty
it's
damn
nine and
impressive.
one. Yeah.
yeah, 9-1's great records for past 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Is that when
Yeah,
the
and
trade deadline was?
yeah, it was February, late February.
Yeah. So I
Um,
mean,
but yeah, to go off his point, I think they instilled a belief in that team bringing in Luca. You got Luca and LeBron, you're a championship contender for sure. But buying into JJ Redick is another thing I think they've done as a whole, and they're playing for each other now. And with the Mavericks side, the Kyrie injury's terrible, and they're not going to win anything this year. But going forward, getting everyone healthy, they should be back next year with Kyrie and AD. But yeah, you got the Thunder as the number one seed clearly in the West, who running away with that, and then you got the Lakers as the number two seed now. And I think as a fan, that would be a hell of a Western Conference Finals. Luca, LeBron versus Shy and Chet. That would be a hell of a conference finals. And to be frank, I wouldn't put it past the Lakers for beating them because I think the Thunder are really good, but I don't know if they can beat Luka and LeBron in 7 games. To be honest, I know the Lakers bench is limited, but I could see them. I could see them winning for sure.
I got Lakers in that shit, boy.
the one thing that I would question about that is I just remember years ago when Russell Westbrook was still on the Thunder that stadium was always packed in that orange during playoffs, and it was rowdy in
It
there.
was a good atmosphere.
So that atmosphere
I
might
think
feel,
everyone remembers that as a child. The
yeah.
KD, the Westbrook, yeah.
I think everyone remembers
Harden.
that. And just if OKC has home court advantage for that series, I feel
Yeah,
like they
they
might
will.
be able to squeeze it out and go 4-3 against them. But if it's not, I don't know if they're going to be able to win. If the Lakers got the home court advantage.
I think the Thunder are just too young, man. I think they're just too young, and Chet will probably get hurt again before the playoffs. Um, Last year, they got beat pretty early, and it wasn't a very convincing series. So I think Shea's going to have a great playoff run. Williams is a great player and a great two man, but I just think they're too young, and they're not quite there yet to make it all the way.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they, react to playing in deep playoff run because truthfully, they've never had one. A lot of those guys are younger, like you said. Jalen Williams has never been there. Chet's never been there. Shea's never even been there. So, and obviously, Luca in the finals last year, LeBron being LeBron. So, yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I definitely think that you can never count LeBron out from making it to the finals just because the longevity that he's had. But overall, I don't know how they're gonna deal with OKC if they make it there. That'd be something we're gonna be looking out for, and that'd be what, May.
Luca busted their ass last year in the playoffs.
Yeah, finals is
So
June.
So it'd be May for
Oh, you talking about in the
for
Western Conference Finals?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, should be.
But looking at something that's been picking up a little bit more recently, we got college baseball. Coastal Carolina is, what are you guys, 11-1, 10-2? Cars?
we just lost to Carolina. It's either two or three
I
losses.
think it's two losses. I think they're 10-2, going from unranked to top 25 team. Auburn being unranked, going to top 25 team. There's only a handful of undefeated teams left in all of Division One, and one of them is the West Virginia Mountaineers, and we're not ranked at all. I don't know how that's happening, but we've most of our games have been away. We've only had, I want to say, one home game, and we won that as well. So we're 9-0 on the road, or more than that. I think it's 11-0 on the road coming into a home series this weekend against Kennesaw State. Definitely think it's going to be a little bit of a beatdown just because we're at home. It's going to be the first home series, first weekend home series. It's warming up here up in West Virginia, so I definitely think we're going to see some students out there, especially because we got spring break the week after. So I definitely think they're going to be out there for this series beforehand. But looking at the rest of the top 25, we got North Carolina, who's still undefeated, Tennessee, Florida State, and Oklahoma is the ones I'm seeing right now. So I'm counting a handful. There might be a couple more that are also not ranked, but my big problem is the West Virginia Mountaineers simply because I'm a Mountaineer fan. I go to school here, but falling out
I
of the
don't
top
blame
20,
you.
falling out of the top 25
I
is
mean,
Duke. I know we mentioned this earlier that you guys are mostly Duke basketball guys, but how are you guys feeling about Duke baseball falling out of the top 25? Do you think they're going to be able to bounce back? Do you think they're going to continue to struggle a little bit?
I, I don't know what to think. I mean, they've been playing like dog shit. As simple as that. Hopefully they can bounce back. The ACC in baseball is pretty legit, so it might be a grind once they get into conference play. But I think they'll bounce back. They had a really good season last year and brought back some guys, so I think they'll be just fine. But if they don't start kicking it in gear, then it might get ugly.
yeah, I would agree. The ACC's a really good baseball conference this year. You got Carolina, who's top five team in the country. You got NC
Florida
State,
State,
who fell out of rankings. Florida State, who's top 10. You got Clemson, I believe, top 15.
Virginia,
Virginia. So there's a lot of good teams. So they better kick into
Wake.
gear, like you said, or they will get hit in the face here pretty hard going into ACC play.
Yeah, I mean we're looking at the top 25. I think there's at least five ACC teams that they got one loss, two losses that are going to be that Duke's going to be going walking into, and they might get smacked in the mouth, or they might be smacking these ranked teams in the mouth, and we might see them hop back into the top 25. But also, we got to think about the SEC. The SEC's been dominating this top 25 for it feels like over a decade.
In the top seven teams in the country, there's two ACC teams in Florida State, North Carolina, five SEC teams, and you got one. You got two. I think you got like seven more in the rankings. So
Yeah, that's basically
I
the
believe
entire
there's
SEC.
12 or 13. It's very similar to college basketball.
Yeah, it's they might have one or two, maybe three that are not currently ranked in the top 25, which is just proving that the SEC are the schools to be at right now for whether you're playing, whether you're a student. It's where you want to be simply because they're winning games and they're going to be bringing in that revenue. And that's going to be one of the most important things we're going to be seeing. So maybe we could see some ACC teams, some Big Ten, some Big 12 hop onto this list. But I feel like for baseball, there's not much of non-conference games just because it's a longer season, so you're playing more teams, you're playing weekend series, you're playing midweek series. So the only for like the first month or so is non-conference games because I want to say we start conference games here in 2 or 3 weeks. That have to
Yeah,
be
that sounds
something
right.
that we're not going to see these non-conference top 25 guys, top 30 teams play each other until we get to regionals and supers. So that's going to be something to be excited for coming in a couple months, end of April, May.
Yeah, regionals will be something with all these SEC and ACC teams. I mean, you got to think about the regions; they'll be loaded with good teams this year. So, but there's a couple smaller names in the rankings. I was looking, U.S. Santa Barbara, who just swept Campbell out west.
Yeah.
Troy, who's a Sun Belt team. Southern Miss, who's another Sun Belt team, and then you got Dallas Baptist. So there's a couple smaller teams in there, two Sun Belts,
Yeah, well, three Sun Belts with Coastal.
and three. Yeah, Coastal. That's three.
Coastal's, I believe they're Sun Belt. I know they're Sun Belt for soccer.
Yeah, they are.
So this could be something to look out for. The Sun Belt Conference might be a team we look out for that can make put a couple teams in the top 25. Maybe one of you guys might be hosting a regional, might win your regional, might go to a super, might see you guys in Omaha. I definitely would be excited to see the Mountaineers host a regional, host a super, or go out to Omaha ourselves. But we gotta get in contact with the NCAA first and fix these rankings. Got to be a top 25 team being undefeated. I think every other undefeated team is ranked, so it's a little upsetting that we have a 6-4 Oklahoma State team ranked. We got an 11-0 or 12-0, I think now.
6-4.
6-4, number 25
That's
in the
terrible.
country.
Come on.
That's terrible.
Yeah. So
They should be
definitely,
ashamed of themselves.
definitely need to talk to someone's got to talk to the NCAA. I mean, come on now, that's
It's a
horrible.
rigged. It's a rigged system, anyways.
I mean,
Ranking don't mean shit.
no.
Well, that and two, and Duke's associate coach John Lucas just took the Miami job, and he's going to be leaving after the game on Saturday against North Carolina because the transfer portal opens. I don't think it's next week, but I think it's the week after. So he's leaving in the end of the season before postseason play, and he's been a huge factor in that team, which the NCAA should be ashamed of himself. But we all know it's about money. So, but that is tough. I mean, that's your one step down from the head coach, associate guy is leaving for postseason play.
That's
Blue Devils will be all right. We got a good staff.
it's horrible. Talking about coaches leaving, I think we all remember Campbell's head coach leaving them last year. A bunch of guys entering the transfer portal. Unfortunately, they haven't been playing the best either. So we might be seeing programs losing their head coaches, taking a tumble down the standings. But I'm going to go back to the West Virginia Mountaineers again. Our head coach retired last year. We brought our assistant in as our head coach. Steve Sabins is 12-0. I'm getting sick of this. If I come back next week and I say we're 15-0 and we're not ranked, I might be calling
Yeah,
the
that's
NCAA
ridiculous.
myself.
That's ridiculous. That's no love shown there.
No, that's none at all, especially after a top 10 pick last year with J.J. Weatherholt. So I definitely think that the West Virginia Mountaineers are a little bit being slept on, and Steve Sabins might be telling them every day that The NCAA hates us. I want us to go undefeated this season and just shove it in their mouth. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the truth. But we're going to be seeing J.J. Weatherholt here in a couple weeks in the MLB spring training games. Those games were announced earlier today, if not yesterday, so that's be exciting to watch. I'm trying to think about what game or when that game is.
I'm looking for Roman Anthony, Christian Campbell, and Marcel Meyer to have a breakout game. Those are my three guys from the Red Sox. Roman
They're playing
Anthony,
the Rays on Thursday, the
I
13th.
believe Roman Anthony's the number either one or two prospect in baseball, but he's 20 years old. But they haven't had the best spring training so far. They've been struggling at a young age. It's tough. You know who has been good is Lombardi for the Yanks.
Oh,
He's only 19, which I
yep,
did not realize. Spencer Jones too. I think Max Clark's been really good as well for the
yep.
Tigers.
Lombard Jr. He's been hitting the ball well. I keep seeing swing analytics him next to Carlos Correa, and they look eerily similar. I don't know if he's been focusing on that recently or not, but he's been hitting the ball well and he's been hitting the ball hard. But I'm excited to see Marcelo Meyer and Roman Anthony and for playing the Rays. I'm excited to see J.J. Weatherholt play the Marlins on day after that Friday. Excited to see the Yankee guys probably that weekend. Spring breakout's gonna, I think it's gonna be around for a long time because we get to see the younger guys that are in the farm system coming up, playing each other, and get excited for the future of the MLB.
Showcase their talent, on a
Yeah.
stage where it's just full of the younger guys instead of mixed in with current MLB players. So I think it'll give them a boost of confidence, because I think a lot of them struggle in spring training because they realize who they're playing against and they're not ready yet, truthfully. A lot of these guys that are playing now aren't going to be ready. They'll start in AAA and maybe even AA and make the jump later in the year. But with that, I think it's a great addition to the sport, and I think it'll be beneficial for these younger guys.
Yeah, I definitely like the idea of having it and seeing these younger guys being able to play is going to be exciting. I'm trying to figure out, Carson. Do you know who your Braves got in their spring breakout? I'm trying to look for it now,
I
but
believe
that might.
First I'm hearing about this.
AJ Smith Schrover, who pitched last year, is actually in it. Um, the
Yeah,
two name last names on the back of the jersey. It goes from here to here.
Drake
Um,
Baldwin as well. They're number one. They got a bunch of guys that are
J.R.
actually
Ritchie,
going to be in there.
J.R. Ritchie, the number 8 prospect in the Brave system. J.R. Ritchie.
Yeah, they got some high ranked prospects that we're going to be seeing probably playing here in the coming few years, if not this year. So that'd be something to look out for Carson Shelton's Braves.
Good,
Um,
okay then. Let's go, fellas.
same
You guys
for
need to stay
Connor's.
healthy.
Yeah, that's the first thing. Got to keep Ronald Acuna Jr. healthy.
Yeah, get him healthy, then keep him healthy.
Yeah.
Because he's
Well, I
not
mean,
starting the year on the opening day.
no, he said he'll be back like a month after. Not even. He said he
Yeah.
wants to make
About
sure he's at
Lucas Hill,
100%.
Lucas Hill, he's out until summer, they said.
You mean Luisio?
Or Luis Hill,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Luis
Luis Hill's out till summer, so that's gonna suck. No word on Giancarlo Stanton yet either. Yankees might have.
Well, when you can't feel your elbows, you don't think you can play baseball,
No, you don't. I don't think you
I
can
don't
do
think you can swing
much.
a bat.
No, I don't think you can do much. Something we're gonna be excited for in the coming weeks is we're gonna have Dalen Thompson from Campbell Baseball on. Excited for that, as well as
Jalen Thompson.
Max Green from the West Virginia golf team on the coming weeks. Excited for that.
Golf clap for him.
Oh yeah, we got a top 50 guy in the PGA Tour U, and Dalen might be getting drafted here.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah, it'd be fun to talk about the seasons for them, and
Yeah,
the
talk about
future. So
talk about the seasons, talk about the future. But we will keep you updated on when they'll be joining us. Until then, we will see you next time. See ya.
later.